How would you suggest fixing the water issues facing the county?
Well, the water issues are a major issue, and actually the state mandated to us 2 years ago that we do something about this. They did a significant water study in this area and identified Johnson County as one of the counties that's in what they refer to as a PGMA, which stands for Priority Groundwater Management Area. Once you're designated as a Priority Groundwater Management Area county, it's incumbent on that county to create a groundwater conservation district. And if the county does not create one, TCEQ, Texas Commission of Environmental Quality, will create one for you, which you do not want, because at that point it falls under the water code governments versus the county governments. So we went and took a leadership role in creating that, put the necessary controls in place to make sure that our recharge rates going into the aquifers that serve Johnson County are at the same level as the discharge rates or the usage rates. It will be a little bit of a change in the way people have their water wells permitted, but for the general consumer, agricultural consumer and so on, it will be transparent. They won't see any change. But for a major user like a gas company who may be pulling 4, 6, 8 million gallons of water out of a groundwater aquifer, there will be some restrictions associated with that. And that's one of the things that we were looking for, is to make sure that we put controls on the major users of the groundwater in Johnson County.
How can the Office of Commissioner improve in working with cities and residents?
That's a good question, and I think one of the things that we've had a challenge with in the past is communicating to the various cities and other taxing entities like school districts the services that Johnson County can provide to them over and above what they normally do. There's a process that's available to us through what's referred to as an interlocal agreement that allows counties to provide services to cities and school districts and other taxing entities at basically a for-cost standpoint. So we can do road projects, we can put in community service projects, we can use infrastructure projects to supplement city shortages or shortfalls. And we've had some very good conversations with the city of Burleson, and these are ongoing. We've had interlocal agreements with every city that's in Precinct 2 to help with road repairs, sign repairs, street maintenance, parking lots, and so on and so forth. But also in areas of maybe waterway maintenance, to where we utilize some of our expertise to come in and do some creek cleanup or hydrology issues. Also utilizing our inmate workforce to do park cleanup, trash pickup, and we do that now on some of the streets, the county streets and city streets, where we'll actually have litter crews that'll go out and utilize community service to do trash pickup at no charge to the cities.
How would you balance service to incorporated and unincorporated areas?
That's a good question. In the incorporated areas of the county are primarily the cities, and the unincorporated areas are areas that are outside city limits or outside of the ETJs of the cities. The services that are inside of cities are supported primarily through city taxes, sales tax, and so on and so forth. And counties, although they have law enforcement jurisdiction, we really don't have any infrastructure jurisdiction within the incorporated areas. So trying to balance those services, when you're talking about services, road repair services, we don't do any road repair services inside incorporated areas. It's all in unincorporated areas. Law enforcement, we do have interjurisdictional mutual aid agreements, and in fire we have interjurisdictional mutual aid agreements. But I think when you're talking about balancing services, it's tough to balance services because unincorporated areas don't have water service, incorporated areas do. Unincorporated areas don't have trash service, primarily incorporated areas do. Road repair and construction and maintenance is the same way. Unincorporated does not have that, so the county has to provide that for that. Incorporated areas, the county really doesn't have jurisdiction to come in and do road construction within those cities. And so it's from a cross-jurisdictional standpoint, the law enforcement center is one that doesn't matter whether it's an incorporated or unincorporated. The judicial system is all county-wide, whether unincorporated or incorporated. Same thing with the county courts, JP courts, district courts, tax office, county clerk, district clerk, and so on and so forth. So that's where everything is balanced across the unincorporated versus incorporated areas of the county.
Why should voters select you over your opponent?
Well, I think within any election, one of the things that you want to look for is qualifications of the candidate. You want to look for experience, you want to look for educational capabilities, and you want to look for leadership capabilities. I think I bring a unique perspective in that having 8 years on the Commissioner's Court, plus the leadership roles that we have at the Council of Governments, as well as on our Tarrant Regional Transportation Commission, where I serve as a member of the Executive Committee on both of those locations. Also service to the community. I serve on the executive board of CASA. I serve on the Burleson Rotary executive board of directors. Both members of the Chamber of Commerce, and so we're very, very active in our community. From an educational standpoint, I've got a degree from Texas A&M University. I've also got continuing education degrees through the Texas Association of Counties, through the LBJ School of Public Affairs at University of Texas, and the V.G. Young Institute of Public Affairs at Texas A&M University. So not only do we have the experience to go with the educational background, but we also have the community service that indicates and shows that not only do we talk the talk, but we walk the walk. And that's why I ask people to get out and vote in this upcoming runoff election, to take the time to understand the differences in the two candidates, and to really take a look and make a determination on who will represent their best interest, not only locally, but also regionally and statewide, who can maintain the progress that we've made over the last 8 years, and who can serve them the most effectively as their county commissioner.
Okay. Can we finish up with maybe what might be the easiest question we're going to ask you today? I'd like you to discuss just your background in the county, also your family life, maybe your hobbies, anything else you think the voters would like to know that maybe they don't know about yourself.
That's great. I've got 2 little girls. I've got a 9-year-old and a 7-year-old, both who attend Boulevard Baptist School there in Burleson. We're members of Fellowship Church in Fort Worth. We've lived here for, goodness gracious, 17 years now, and family lives in this area. We've been very, very active in this area and always have been. This is where we plan on spending the rest of our lives. Our hobbies have changed dramatically because of kids. When you've got a 9-year-old and a 7-year-old, you really don't have a whole lot of time for hobbies. So most of my hobbies have been spent with coaching my little girls' soccer teams, coaching their softball teams. My wife works with our daughters on their basketball team when they play their upwards basketball. So really our hobbies are more focused around our kids right now, and continuing to support their activities. My 9-year-old is very active in ballroom dancing. She's actually in competitive ballroom dancing, which is somewhat unique for a 9-year-old. Last year, as a matter of fact, she was first alternate for the Dancing with the Stars Junior Tour, so we were pretty proud of that. My 7-year-old, Kelly Grace, is exactly 180 degrees opposite of Macy Joy. Kelly Grace is very active in Taekwondo, in basketball, and soccer. So you've got one that's the ballroom dancer and one that's the Taekwondo, and that brings some unique dynamics into our house when it comes to conflict resolution. One wants to dance her way around it, the other one wants to break it. So, I'm very blessed to have a wonderful wife and 2 beautiful little girls, and that's one of the things that makes my job an absolute joy, is because they get to participate in what I do on a daily basis.
Okay. Any other thoughts before we wrap this up?
No, I think probably the one thing that I wanted to mention is that in a runoff election, the biggest challenge in a runoff election is voter turnout. The voter turnout is expected to be very, very low, and I want to encourage any voter to make sure that they turn out in this runoff election, because the votes are just as important as they are in the primary election.